Well, greetings and welcome everybody. It is 6:30 and we are starting on time. My name is Rafini and I will be a moderator for the event this evening. This event is one of many highlighting grassroots entrepreneurship that is just as important and just as important as community is as making money and doing well with the business. Purpose and community over profit is what we'll be talking about tonight. We are talking to some wonderful people about grassroots businesses and entrepreneurship. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Jonathan J.Q. Qualls. Jonathan Qualls has had a lifelong passion for building businesses and creating change. As a serial entrepreneur, he started his first business as the top selling paperboy in his neighborhood at the age of 8. After graduating from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, FAMU, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Qualls held several positions in both private and public sectors, including as head of partnership for author and talk show host Travis Smiley's Foundation, and as a senior advisor for a former Detroit mayor. Leveraging his skills around building bridges between people and ideas, Qualls founded the BTL Group, a strategic business development and relationship management platform. The BTL Group currently operates in 7 countries. I will repeat that line. The BTL Group currently operates in 7 countries. Jonathan also founded Quartz Water Source, inspired by the Flint water crisis, and created the mission of expanding global access to clean water as his latest venture. Quartz is currently working on the first ever water insurance product. Most recently, Qualls has become a best-selling author of Making Dollars While Making Change, which we will, of course, discuss this evening. Qualls reviews the acts of making dollars while making change as his life mission. He is a proud Flint, Michigan native. I would secondly like to introduce Daryl of D Spot. Now, I haven't been to D Spot yet, but I have had some of them wonderful chicken wings that Daryl sells. Daryl is a Rhode Island native and a proud Rhode Island native, bred and born here. He is a creative native and entrepreneur. Growing up in the inner city, he faced a lot of hardships that come along with everyday life living in that environment. But he used his tough upbringing as fuel to empower him and to be a point of view for his entrepreneurship and a point of inspiration for young men and women to follow. I would like to tell you about Daryl, who is going to be the spot. Will have its second spot at 404 Bird Street as soon as we move into the place. He will be an SELT neighbor, and I will be coming for the waffles. I had the chicken, but I would love some of the waffles. So, without further ado, we are going to ask some questions. And I'm looking to see, and we don't have Daryl on yet. He's having a little bit of problem with his internet. Do we have him back yet? All right, I will proceed. I don't want to go too far without Daryl, so I want to tell everybody to recognize that this is the week of Juneteenth, and there will be a lot more things going on. You can check out the city's calendar for all the other events that will be happening this week around Juneteenth. Do we have him yet? Okay, I'm going to move on. My first question, to get to the roots of things, I'd like to start with, I wanted both of you to answer this. And if Daryl is able to come back, if he can hear us, then he can answer these questions as well. Now, JQ, you grew up in Flint, and Daryl, as a Rhode Islander, I would like to ask you the formative stuff that influenced you as entrepreneurs. The second question is, what were one or two defining professional moments for each of you, and how have they played into your views as entrepreneurs? Just let me know if you need me to repeat that.
All right. So I'll try the first one. Thank you so much. And it's such a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank all the folks that have joined. We look to have a very fruitful conversation. But my formative years, I'll be honest with you, when I first, as an entrepreneur, I always knew at a very young age that that was what I was called to do. I had a father that told me to much is given, much is expected. And so we come from very humble beginnings in Flint, Michigan. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure I could do is to be able to get my family out of poverty. And so that was honestly what I started. And that was really what got me into entrepreneurship, because I wanted to be able to determine my own destiny and for legacy and be able to create legacy through business ownership and investments and things like that. That's the first question. I don't know if you want to have Daryl to jump in.
Sorry, guys. I just had to jump on the Wi-Fi, but I'm up and running and good to go now. I apologize about that.
We understand. Did you get a chance to hear the first question?
No, could you just repeat it for me, please?
I sure will.
Thank you very much.
Could you, with you growing up in Rhode Island, being a Rhode Island native, could you tell me the formative stuff that influenced you as entrepreneur? And the second question is, what were one or two defining professional moments that you have that have played into your views as entrepreneur?
All right, so I guess the most defining moment, a defining moment that really rings light true to me, is that my dad passed away at a young age. So, I grew up in group homes and foster care and stuff like that. And my dad, he was a really smart dude, a hard worker, and he always wanted to open up his own restaurant and try to get his own salad dressing to the stores. And he died young because of cancer. And I just remember him always wanting to do that, but he never pulled the trigger on it. And it really rang true to my heart. That was something he really wanted to do, but for whatever reasons, for his own reasons, he never really got a chance to do it. So I told myself, when it's time for me to be able to do something, I'm gonna understand that life is short and that it might not always be the perfect timing, but I need to get it done. And then just growing up, in the city, I grew up on the Southside, where the Southside Land Trust office is actually. And just I had a lot of good role models from teachers and just from people in the neighborhood that really did their thing. And I seen I seen different people, just little things from corner stores and stuff like that. They didn't really have to clock in, and they were building a future for themselves and just trying to really work on their own terms. And from a young child, that really caught my attention.
And I'll answer the second question. There's several things that I can think of, but I think one of the more defining moments for me, again, as I mentioned, when I grew up, my goal and my aspiration was to be able to provide. Are you guys getting an echo?
A little bit, but it's not that bad.
Okay, maybe let me try something different here. Okay, can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay, all right. So as I mentioned, one of the things that I wanted to be able to do was to be able to create that can also be able to be tied to the community, and we can be able to actually create our own our businesses and our communities and things like that. But when I was working in corporate America, and I thought I was making some good money until I started making my own money. I got married, and then I had my first daughter, and I just remember always being on the road because I didn't have any choice. I was going around and bringing in new business for the company and making small commission checks and things like that. I was enjoying the travel, but one of the things that's so important to me more than anything else is being a father, being a family man. And so I remember seeing my daughter, I think coming back from Switzerland, and I remember looking at my daughter. She was probably a few weeks old, and she was just looking at me like she doesn't know who I am. And, you know, I was raised with a father who is my best friend to this day. And I said, I got to do something different, because right now I'm working for someone else's dreams, and they can care less about the fact that I may not ever have a relationship with my daughter or my family. And so at that point, I realized I need to make a difference. And I ended up leaving corporate America. That was the changing point. And then also I realized that I want to make sure that I'm doing something that matters, not just something that just makes money. And so the idea of the book, Making Dollars While Making Change, was surrounded around that thesis, is that you have to first start with your why, and people always come first and profit always comes second, opposed to profit first and then people second. Because without people, there's no business, there's no organization, there's no impact that you can ever create. And so that was a very redefining moment in my life. And I made for me, after that situation, I said, even if I have to struggle in business, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that I can live my life on my own terms, and that I do it responsibly and respectfully, doing it with people in mind and with my why at the forefront.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. My second set of questions is development as entrepreneurs. The first question is, how has your outlook on entrepreneurship changed over time, if at all? And the second question, which I'll repeat if you need me to, since the entrepreneurial journey isn't easy at all, what have been the top 3 things that the two of you have learned about when the going gets rough? So the first is your outlook on entrepreneurship. Has it changed? How, and if at all? How are you?
Yeah, I guess I'll take that question first. So I don't believe my outlook has changed so far. I mean, I'm like 5 years in, to be honest. So it's not like I've had a long like journey to see the difference. But I kind of just like came into it knowing that it wasn't going to be easy. It was going to be a lot of hard work. And it's been the same. Like, you know, it's all a learning process, a huge learning curve, because I've seen a lot of growth, especially since COVID, that I wasn't expecting. So it's just like onto like hiring people and learning how to manage a staff, and just like, you know, it's really deeper than it looks. And so I don't really think anything has changed for me thus far. I don't know if it will in the future, because like I said, I'm like 5 years in, and the growth for me really just started happening like a year ago or 2 years ago, to the point that it is right now. So I would say it's really still the same. I know it's going to be hard, and I just like try to get up in the morning and cross my T's, dot my I's, and do my best to get the job done.
Yep. And I would say it had my entrepreneurship has actually, my outlook has changed, and it's changed in a way that, you know, I grew up with this hustle mentality, right? So I grew up where all of my friends sold drugs. I didn't, but I had multiple businesses. I was selling candy from Sam's. I was selling T-shirts that I was making. I had a printing company. I had all these different hustles that I was actually doing individually, selling CDs out of my trunk. I mean, I was doing a lot of different things. I always had a passion and a desire to see something from nothing and to be able to build it. But it was like really hustling. And so I realized that as I've gotten older, that there's a difference between being a hustler and being an entrepreneur. A hustler is someone that actually is doing what I was saying that I was doing. As an entrepreneur, the difference is an entrepreneur is someone that actually have processes and systems in place that actually can work and live while you still can actually be making money while you sleep. And so that's what I've been doing. And speaking about sleeping, my mindset has even changed of how I actually do and run my businesses. One, I want to make sure that I hire the best at all costs, because I want to enjoy my whole life. I want to have balance. And when I speak about balance, I'm talking about mindfulness. And I speak very specifically about that in the book. The importance of mindfulness, the importance of health and wellness, the importance of eating right. So my diet consists of things that complements the work that I do. I do a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy. So the things that I eat is very high in omega-3s, things that help with memory, and things like that. But I sleep a lot. Well, not a lot. I get enough sleep. When I was younger, I was like, all I need is 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I'll be good. Like that was that hustle mentality. And so now, again, I have 3 daughters. And to me, what's important is balance. So I spend a lot of time meditating. I spend a lot of time traveling, refueling, retreating, and then spending time with people that I love and I, appreciate being around, and not just working. Because for me, I've always had a great work ethic, and I get that from my father. But I realized that I don't have to be working all day. And some days I check out. I have Fridays are usually a personal day for me. So I work really hard Monday through Thursday. And Friday, I usually do my own. I get my massages, I get my pedicures and manicures, I get haircut. That to me is balance, because now that I'll be turning 40 next year, I'm in it for the long term. This is a marathon, not a race. And if I'm burnt out, and if my health is bad, and if my mental and my true happiness and peace is disrupted, I can't do this good work. And so for me, I feel like it's an investment into myself as an entrepreneur, that the more and the better I am, the way I can show up into the world and for my family, the better I can be, for at least until God tells me it's my time to go. So that's the difference in my outlook.
I'm muted. Thank you very much. The second part of the question is, we know that being an entrepreneur is a tough job, a tough business. What advice would you tell people, or what did you do when the going got rough? Darryl, we'll start with you again since Jonathan just finished speaking.
So for me, because especially with like the COVID times and the markets going up and down, it's really been tough. So what I try to do is I just try to stay grounded. I try to stay grounded and just remember the end goal. Like no matter how hard it gets, like on my worst days, I try to remember that, like where I wanted to go, and that I'm so much more farther than where I started. So that kind of helps me, give me enough juice to like, all right, let's get this going. And I just want to say thank you so much. Jay, like everything you just said, like hit me so deeply. And I feel like you said, that hustle mentality, I really do have to work on balance, and literally everything that you just said spoke to my soul. It's just, it's kind of hard, but I want to put my best foot forward in trying to get those days for myself, because as being the leader of the whole operation, if I'm not, where I need to be, then it's going to be hard to lead. So thank you so much for that, by the way. Yeah, and like I said, just staying grounded and just remembering my end goal. I got my vision board on my wall that I see every day with my goals on it. So I just try to keep it cool and remember I'm going here, and to get to said place, there's going to be some obstacles in my way.
Yeah, and I'll kind of tack on to what you just said, Daryl. This idea of controlling your space and your circle. And what we're doing right now is masterminding, right? So there's things that I can learn from you, things that you can learn from me, but being around people, like-minded people, having a circle of folks that actually love you and that support you, small wins and big wins, right? And some days it's not going to be wins, but to have someone who actually love you, who's there for you, who's going to actually be authentic and tell you when you're wrong and tell you when you need to get yourself together. Having those kind of people in your circle, and I also talk about that in the book very specifically, is just having the right kind of circle around you. My dad would always tell me when I was growing up, he would say, always control your circle. Always control your circle. And I never really understood that concept until I got older. And for me, what's really big for people that's in my circle, which is a very small circle, is loyalty, trust, integrity, honesty. This is how I do business. And if I don't have people around me that can reflect that kind of thing, then I can be persuaded and influenced to do something that's outside of who I am in my core. I think another thing, as I mentioned, is mindfulness. I think important to balance, whether it's, some people have, from religion to whatever it is that you do, exercising, yoga, that kind of balance. And one of the things that I love about samurai warriors is that when they weren't in war season, they would always do things that would stimulate the other side of their brain. So they'll do a lot of kind of creative things like calligraphy and things like that and painting. So I would always say another part of balance is making sure that you're activating both left and right brain, because as business people, most of the time we're activating the logical business structure side, but we're not tapping into the creative side, which helps us to be a better person and to help us to make better decisions that's outside of the box and innovative. And I think the last thing I would say was, well, it really should be the first, is you got to really step back and say, why am I doing this? You got to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is aligned with your why and the purpose that you're doing. Like, what is the thing that wake you up in the morning? And the thing when you have to go to sleep at night, you just can't go to sleep because I'm like, I just really want to do some more reading on this, or I want to take another phone call. That thing that wakes you up and that drives you, that makes you tick, I consider that to be your passion. So it's the intersection between the things that you do well and then the things that you can probably that you enjoy doing better than anyone else. That intersection is the thing that you really have to ask yourself, what am I passionate about? Because what I always tell young people in particular is that never do anything for money. Never do anything for money, because if you do whatever you love and you're passionate about, the money will find you. And I'm a living testimony of that. I've literally been that I'm living today. I've never interviewed for a job. I've always created every job. When I was working for, I worked in the government, I worked for nonprofits, and also worked for corporate multi-billion-dollar companies. I created my job description because I knew that there were certain things and certain qualities that I can do better than others. I can connect to people better than most people I know. So I wanted to make sure I did something that was aligned to what I love to do. And then the money found me. And then at that point, I realized, okay, I can actually do this on my own now. And I got to figure out how to scale it and build a team and things like that. So always start and lead with your purpose and your why, and what drives you and what makes you passionate. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. You can be 60 years old and just realize what your passion is. It's never too late to figure out what that is. But I would say take time to spend time with yourself, to understand what is it that drives me, that gets me up at night, the things that I can't sleep at night, because it's something that's so important. I think that's what advice I would give.
Thank you both so much for your wisdom and insight. It really means a lot to hear your words. We are going to move on to what we call the future. So we are going to look ahead. I'm asking this question of Jonathan first. Now, we know about that you have your book out, which everybody here tonight who's participating should have received a copy of it. The book is a platform. What are you most excited about, and how you're going to use this platform? What you're going to use it for?
Yeah, so let me just say that when I wrote the book, I never thought I was a good writer. I was never like the best liberal arts student when I was coming up. But I always knew that I had stories to tell. I always knew that, in the book, I talk about some things that is very, very sensitive to me and is very vulnerable. And I was writing it in a space where I was going and struggling through anxiety during 2020, which most people probably were dealing with some sort of mental situations due to being in a very different world that we had to kind of align to. But when I was writing the book, one of the main reasons for writing the book is that as a young kid, I always wanted to I knew entrepreneurship was my thing. I knew business was my thing, but there was no curriculum or course growing up that kind of taught things like credit and tax strategies and how to harvest and grow and farm your own food, how to be self-sufficient and how to be able to grow and how to invest in alternative investments, in real estate, in stocks and bonds and cryptocurrency and NFTs. We had none of that. And so before I wrote the book, I went to a few schools and said, hey, I want to put together an entrepreneur curriculum, a universal entrepreneur curriculum. That was the motivation. And so after there was a few people that said, well, have you written a book? Do you have a PhD? Why would we want to use your curriculum? And so again, when you tell me I can't do something, and when I hear no, no means maybe to me. So I recalibrated, and that was really the first form of writing the book, because now I'm able to actually be an audience and platforms where I can talk about these principles that is eventually going to turn into a universal entrepreneurship curriculum that I'm actually working currently in the beginning right now with the University of Michigan, and hoping to have this all over the United States, particularly in Black and brown communities, where people from K through 12 are exposed to all of these things that we're learning, Daryl, that we're learning today. They can learn that in kindergarten, first grade, and things like that. So that's what motivated the book.
Wonderful. Thank you. Daryl, would you like to answer? Daryl, I'm going to ask you your question specifically. With you having the restaurant D Spot, which I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, is on Minnow Spring Avenue, and will be at 404 Broad real soon. You've also used the restaurant as a platform for some incredible things, like promoting Black businesses, supporting local entrepreneurship at the Fair Trade Marketplace, and a whole lot of other stuff. What are you most excited to work on in this new coming year?
To be honest, I'm looking forward to 404 Broad Street so much. I have so much great ideas. And, when I first started these, it was literally just me in my bed having an idea. Like, to see my ideas come to light and to see it grow through COVID, I've learned so much that I can't wait. I can't even put into words. I can't wait to start 404 Broad Street, because I'm learning every day. Even talking to my man Jay, I've learned so much just in this conversation, little tools that I could just use and apply to the new space. And I'm just so overly excited for it. And also too, I want to use it. I want it to be a community space that we could use to inspire different people and do different things. And I'm just it's in the perfect side of town where the kids really need that, like Jay was talking about. And I can't even really explain it. It's literally across the street from the high schools where some of these same young kids that live in what we call Clowntown projects over there, or live on the Southside, they're going to be walking by every day. So this is going to be like a shining light to them. I want to touch the community. I want to meet the community. I'm going to be right there in the mix of everything. And it's just amazing. I can't just wait to put some of my ideas into fruition. And I feel like since it took me 5 years to get this one off the ground, I could fast track that one.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you two will stay in touch. And
I definitely want to stay in touch.
Yeah,
so I definitely want to stay in touch.
Yeah, those emails.
I was just about to say, actually, I want to definitely come to Rhode. I've been to Rhode Island once, but I definitely want to come check you out, Daryl, and I want to build with you and your community, because I think we can definitely do some amazing work together. So yes, I look forward to, hopefully this year I can come out there and you can come out to Detroit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
My next question is, what words of advice and inspiration do the two of you have for folks who are aspiring entrepreneurs waiting to put the trigger on their ideas?
Yeah, I'll go. So yeah, I would say just start where you are, right? The biggest thing is having an idea is important. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have all the money. And trust me, I'm, again, a living example. I didn't come from money. And for me, what's been always very critical is I've had relationships. Relationships are very critical. They're not transactional. And I think let me say that one more time. When it comes to business, when it comes to just anything in life, it's so important to value the relationships that you're developing and be mindful and to take care of relationships as if they are the most delicate thing. I haven't always got everything right when it comes to relationships. And that's something that I'm always evolving and becoming. And I think none of us are always going to be perfect in how we do it. We talk about networking and things like that, but it's so important to make sure that the relationships are intact. But start where you are. When you have an idea, develop a team and a circle of folks that can do things very well. Like for me, I know what my weaknesses are. I don't focus on my weaknesses. I just build teams of people that actually can amplify who's good at what I'm not, and I bring them on board. And I focus only on my strengths. God has given me very few gifts. But again, for those of y'all who read the Bible, There's the individual that had the 1 gift, and then I think it was the 2 and the 4, or maybe I'm messing the numbers up. But the point I'm trying to make is, we don't know that one person that had that 1 gift, that tried to hide the gift, that didn't multiply the gift, lost it. And so it doesn't matter if you have 1 gift or talent. It doesn't matter if you have 2. Some people have 3, 4, 5, and that's great. But it's so important that if you don't use your gift, you will lose your gift. And that's something I want to make sure that any entrepreneur, any innovator or game changer is thinking about. That 1 gift can be the gift that changes the world. So never neglect your gift. Focus on your gift, build teams around it, and then make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and it's within your core.
Thank you. Daryl?
Yeah, I would say, kind of touching base on what I said before, just do it. Like, just don't be scared and just jump for it. Just take that leap of faith. I think that would be the most important thing to do. I don't think I think if you keep on waiting, like maybe next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe whenever, I don't think there's actually ever going to be a good time, because it's like a roller coaster. So you might as well just jump on board when you get the chance.
Thank you both so much. That is actually my final question for the 2 of you.
All right.
I'd love to go on a little further, but we have a second part, and someone's going to be changing the screen for us. But I want to thank you both so much for coming, and please do share addresses and be inspiration to each other. You definitely inspired me.
I'm already inspired, so.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you for letting me be a part of something so great. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna make sure I try to link with Jay and try to get some knowledge from a brother that knows what he's doing and got some good information to share.
Yeah, we definitely going to do that. And I just want to thank the organizers of this for bringing me on. Again, you all will be getting your books pretty soon. They're in the mail right now. You can reach me on my website, jonathancorals.com. And if others want to purchase books, you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold for the books. A portion of the books go back to a scholarship for my alma mater, Florida A&M University. And again, the idea is everything is double, triple bottom line in all of my businesses. And to me, that's what gives me purpose, and it gives me, it wakes me up knowing that it's not just about money. Because even if the money is gone, I'm still able to make change and create impact. So hopefully you all learned something and was engaged. Let's keep in touch. Let's continue to build.
Thank you. I definitely will. And that is the first portion of our program tonight. Greetings, Anna and Karen and Julius. Greetings all. It is so wonderful to see you all here. This is Anna and Karen of the Heal Room, HEAL, and Julius Seawright of Food for Good. Thank you very much for coming. We are going to ask them some questions like I asked earlier. Well, different questions, but questions like I asked Jonathan and Darryl earlier. And these are 3 wonderful Rhode Island entrepreneurs, and Karen and Anna work together. Julius, I have seen your truck and eaten food from your truck, and it's wonderful and miss it. So hopefully you get to tell us a story about it. And I'm going to ask you guys the questions. So, okay. I didn't read this part first. So, questions for the panelists. First, I need you to introduce yourselves. And then secondly, you're going to talk about your business. So can we start with Karen and Anna? Karen first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karen. I have been an entrepreneur since 2018-ish, kind of was getting into the game. But I can tell just the more I do it, the more that I am meant to do this, because I'm getting a lot better at it and I actually enjoy it, and I actually resonate a lot with what Jonathan and Daryl have shared today. me and Anna were doing our own things, and we last year in 2020 decided to partner up together, and I think that kind of excelled our mission, because we are two like-minded people who like work really hard, and you can tell because she was working really hard in her business and I was working really hard in mine, but we came together and we created something that was better than we imagined, and sometimes it turns out to be that way. And Anna will talk a little bit more about the sustainability and the change that we're making on Earth. But what I bring to the table to the team is my passion for mindfulness and how it has changed my life and how I think it can change our community. And I want to bring that every day and bring that value into the people that come every day to the Heal Room, because our mission is to help people are within and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna?
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. First of all, I have allergies right now, so I might be a little bit like stuffy. So I do apologize for that. And I also want to thank Southside Community Outreach for having us here. It's an honor to be in this panel. I also want to thank Jonathan and Daryl. Jonathan, I definitely resonated. I felt like you were speaking to me the whole time, especially when you were talking about mindfulness and like taking care of inward first, before being able to like give out to the community. So that was very important. And Daryl, I'm a Pawtucket native, so thank you for bringing your business to Pawtucket and just like helping the economy grow here. So like Karen was saying, like we did partner up together. I've been in the entrepreneurship game for 3 years now. So I am a baby, I'm a newbie at this. And I studied kinesiology. So I was a PE and health teacher. I never imagined that entrepreneurship would be in my realm, but we make plans and God's plans are always bigger. So with our business, the sustainability portion of it, we have a refill station in our store. It's all about zero waste. It's all about helping people bring their own containers to our store. Sorry about that. It's all about helping the environment. And so what we do is we allow people to bring their own containers and reuse their use of plastic waste. So we're helping our community by trying to keep it clean. And at the same time, we're allowing people to come in and use products that are good for their skin, are good for their being, and are biodegradable, are going to be okay to use in our environment. Because like the theme of making dollars while making change, people are more important over profit. I'm so sorry. I'm like having the text come in and it's like messing with this. I'm going to try to mute it. Just give me 1 second so I can continue. All right, I got it. So the Heal Room, like Karen was saying, is to help people and planet. And really, that's what got me into entrepreneurship in the first place. It wasn't because I was money hungry or I was driven by monetary value, but because when I lived in Los Angeles, I got into sustainability. I lived there and it was super easy to live a low waste life. It was super easy to just be a conscious consumer. And then when I moved back to Rhode Island, I found that it was missing. And it was actually my former partner who was more entrepreneur minded. And he kind of pushed me to get into the market and just like, if there's something missing, then you have to bring it to the table. And that felt really good for me because I was doing something that I personally truly cared about. And I was bringing, the sustainability and conscious consumerism to the state and the town that I grew up in. So that's just a little bit about like what we do for the community, and how we just are so passionate about making our community a better place. And we're doing this because of this reason, and it's definitely like so much more rewarding if we were just doing something that was all for profit. Thank you.
Thank you. Julius?
I am Julius Seawright. I grew up in Providence. I started a business called Food for Good after I graduated from Johnson and Wales University. Food for Good was a food truck that would give out 400 meals to the community free of charge during the weeknight, and then use proceeds from events to fund those meals that we gave out. Um, I was able to share that resource with Providence for 3 years. Was able to tell that story of starting the business on the Great Food Truck Race season 5. So had that opportunity, and starting the business was just a way to give back to the community. Seeing that, going to a top culinary school and having a resource of being able to cook, I want to share that resource with the community that needed it the most. I'm very involved in the community. I actually left that role to run um, a farmer's market here on the west side of Providence called Sankofa. So I'm actually working with um, up and coming entrepreneurs and in the kitchen and the gardens to produce products to be sold to the local community.
Thank you, Julius. I met Julius quite a few years back, and as I said, have had the food from his truck as well. And he just makes my heart beam when I see him, because I've seen all of the hard work that he has done and the strides that he has made to push forward, and it just makes me proud. It makes me very, very proud. I want to ask a question about, and I'm going back and forth here. I know y'all can't see this, but I want to ask you if you could give some words of advice, some words of inspiration to young people or older people. I mean, as Jonathan said, if you get that notion at 60, get up and move on it. Could you give some words of inspiration to them, and maybe a little bit of knowledge and about what to do to move forward to start their business?
What to say other than what hasn't been said? I think Jonathan and Daryl did such a good job when they answered this question. And I also want to add a couple of different points. They're a little bit random, but I hope they all make sense. The first one is that if I have any advice, is just really, really get inspired. There's just so much room for unique ideas that haven't even been thought of. Think outside the box. Bigger necessarily isn't better, but really think of the details and invest in how you want people to feel. I think that really, really matters, and be creative with it. It's there. If we all were did creative businesses that are making change and that gave back, then our community will continue to be more vibrant and more alive, and we can tap into that and follow that and manifest that. My next thing that I wanted to say was, don't let bad past experiences define you. Don't let people's visions of you define you. Only you have the power to define yourself. And you can only do that by really, really spending time with yourself, because that's when you're going to be able to get to know yourself. And only by knowing yourself is when you're going to be able to really be the best version of yourself and step into your own gifts and how you can be bring that into the community, because we need you. So spend some time and harvest those gifts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna, would you like to speak next? Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I love what Karen just said. This is why she's my business partner. But I really do want to piggyback off her idea of uniqueness. And I just want to tell people that the idea doesn't necessarily have to be as unique or innovative, but it just has to be uniquely yours. There's a lot of, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to like put your own spin to the wheel, because there's millions of different companies that are all the same. There's the business model just has to be very like catered, like how Karen said, it has to be catered to the audience. Like, how can you make them feel different than another brand that's giving the same product? So I think that's just for people who are like, I see a lot of people making candles and soaps, and it's like your business can flourish. You just have to put a lot of your own unique style to it. For example, we have friends who make soap, and we have their soap in our store, and they put a lot of effort into their brand, and their brand stands out from all the other local brands. It looks like $1 million brand. Our business isn't unique. Our business model isn't unique. There's other stores just like ours around the country. It is unique to Rhode Island, but we added our own love and our own spin to it. And I guess that's kind of my advice. Just don't reinvent the wheel. Just make it, your own unique experience for others to have that unique experience. And then my other advice would be to trust, really trust the process, trust yourself, trust your idea, and trust God, because when you don't fully trust your idea, it's not going to flourish. It's not going to come to life. I had to quit my job in order to show God that I was fully entrusting in our store and trusting in our business for it to thrive. Because I wasn't putting 100% of my effort into it. I was putting, 60%. And then, I was caught in between. So I had to leave and fully trust that, go full throttle and just let God take the wheel, or whoever you believe in, the creator, take the wheel, because, that's when you fully trust your idea. That's how it flourishes and it truly manifests. So what do you have to lose at the end of the day? So yeah. And then lastly, use your resources, I guess, because there's so many organizations that are getting paid to help you. So just use those resources. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Julius, would you like to speak now? Oh, you know what I wanted to ask? Karen and Anna, where is your store?
It's located in Pawtucket as well, on Smithfield Ave, 574 Smithfield Ave, Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Julius, would you like to answer the question? Do you need me to repeat it?
Yes.
Okay, I am looking for you to give some advice and words of inspiration to some people who are looking to start up a business.
I would say follow your dreams. Don't give up. Always work hard on your business, no matter what challenges may come. Like for us, when I have my business, we did the Great Food Truck Race, got eliminated week 2, but we had a chance to share, our story on national television. Even starting my food truck, I built up my food truck, got it up and running, did our first event, blew the engine, was down for a while. So we got back up and running. We ran for 3 years strong. made major impact on the community. And I would say, just if you're doing a business with a purpose, figure out what that impact you want to make on your community and try to go to work every day and make that impact.
Thank you so much, Julius. Thank you. Is the truck still around?
The truck is not around. Nope.
Okay. I was hoping it was. I thought one day I saw it ride down. I saw a white truck ride down the street, and I got ready to start yelling. We were in the garden. I really started to start yelling, and I realized we didn't have the truck anymore. I want to give you all an opportunity to ask each other questions if you would like to. And then I believe I'm supposed to open it up, but I need somebody to tag me in the chat to let me know if I'm opening it up to the audience to ask questions to the panelists. So Anna and Karen, do you have any questions for Daryl and Jonathan? And Julius, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions for the two big guys?
I wanted to know about Daryl's his new innovation, or what you were talking about, because you didn't really go into detail, and I was really curious as to what you have in the works. It sounds like it's a project involving the community, and I wanted to hear a little more about it.
All right, so the Southside Land Trust, one of the people that are putting together this wonderful event, they raised a couple million, and they brought this building like smack dab in the middle of Broad Street in Providence, and they're redoing the whole top of it to be their like home office, and then the bottom of it they're gonna have I believe, don't quote me, 3 spaces for businesses. And I've been around for a long time. Luckily I was able to sign on early and hang on. I'm gonna be getting like a really good space there, and I'm gonna just turn it into a place like I don't want to call it, I'm trying to think. I want to, for lack of better words, an adult Boys and Girls Club with like good food, having access to stuff that's a little bit more healthier than we normally would, having programming, like some of that programming on just teaching different things, having access, providing access to knowledge that maybe people in that demographic wouldn't either readily have or wouldn't even know that they need it. But now they could walk by the bodega and be like, hey, what's going on over here? And I'm going to let them know what's up. That's it.
I have a question for, actually for everyone. I guess what is your superpower? What are you doing to make sure that the world, before you leave, you transition on to the next afterlife of experiencing your superpower?
Inspire.
I want to answer that question, and it's not even for me. My superpower. Okay, cool. My superpower is being authentically me, and I want to help people also be authentically themselves. And I have a question for you, Jonathan. So right back at you. How are you managing like 7 locations? How?
So I talked a little bit about the importance of balance. What I'm learning as I'm getting older is that, again, I can't do everything and I can't be everywhere. So again, it's so important to like really create a team and a circle of people that can help support and be resources. And I don't have to have my hands on everything. And once again, as a person that when you're leading an organization or a business, you have to understand that your role is not to do the day-to-day stuff, but you still need to understand and have oversight over it. But you want to make sure, again, you have people that you can trust that have the same values and believe in the mission that you're trying to achieve. And then I am a master delegator. Again, and you delegate when you have a strong team around you. I don't have to check and double check to see if it's actually done. And so that's why it's so important to have the right kind of team around you. And as again, balance is everything. So I make sure that I'm not just working 24/7. I'm spending time with my children. spending time with people who I love. And, you know, that's the balance that I try to make. And there's days where I'm like, I have so much work that I haven't finished, and that's pretty much every day. But I realize that work is always going to be there. But moments and memories that we create with people that we love won't ever be. And so that's what matters the most. When I think about the gravestone, you know, some people think about the date of birth, the date of transition, but I think about that dash, because that dash represents a life that was lived for a cause and not just because. And everything that is within that dash is the memories that matters the most. Because even when we're not here in the physical realm, we have those memories that will always live, and that's how the spirit and the individuals will always live. So I say create memories, always focus on memories and not things, material things that can come and go. Money can come and go, cars and houses can come and go, but experiences and things, to me, is something that's very important when you're talking about really living and not just being alive.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm going to incorporate that word dash. When people ask me what I'm doing, I'm working on my dash. Do we have any more questions? Oh, I wanted to say that 404 Broad Street is opening in the fall of this year. I cannot wait to see it finished, and look forward to all of y'all being there. You know you have to come and visit. And Jonathan, we're looking forward to you coming to Rhode Island as well. We have 4 minutes remaining, and I wanted to leave it open for questions. I don't see any in the chat, so we're not taking them from the audience. We're only taking them from the panel. Does anybody else have any questions of each other?
I had a question for Julius. So I know you're don't have your food truck. I know the events for 2020 were crazy and they were all canceled, and I know that probably affected you tremendously. Know it firsthand. So what are your plans? What are your future plans? What are you up to?
So what I'm currently up to, I work for West Hamwood Housing, part of the Sankofa Initiative. So the Sankofa Initiative is a farmers market, community kitchen, and community garden, and trying to get those people in the community involved in the three. So I run the market, working with growers and our kitchen members and trying to get them to sell their product at the market. So that's what I'm currently doing. I have some business ideas floating around in my head. So looking to get those out on paper, maybe some pop-up restaurants around Providence, and go from there.
Thank you. Julius, when is the market? Isn't next week your first day?
Yep. So our first market is next Wednesday, 2 to 6 at Knight Memorial Library on Elmwood Avenue, and we run that market June to October.
Very good. With some very affordable and wonderful organic vegetables there, and some fruits, and watermelons with seeds in them. I love it. Nothing better. Nothing better. Well, I want to thank everybody on the panel. I want to thank SCLT, especially you, Margaret, because she talks about Jonathan in such a wonderful way. They worked together in Flint before, well, in Michigan. I'm not going to say Flint, but they worked together in Michigan before. And when Margaret learned of his book, she said, we have to have him. And when Gisandra and I heard of him, we said, of course. So, and I am honored to be, I keep calling myself the MC. I can't think of the other word, but I'm the MC tonight. And I am honored that you all had me, and it was amazing hearing the stories. Thank you so much. Thank you all. And it is 7:29. To everybody else, have a beautiful, well, to everybody, period. Have a beautiful evening. May you enjoy life, and may it just get better and longer and more prosperous. Thank you. Peace, everybody.
Thank you so much.